Hey everyone, it's 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night, and where else would I be but here with you? DJ Stutz here with Little Hearts Academy and Imperfect Heroes podcast. And today we are talking about speech and language and all that happens in those early years of growing up. We might think it's really cute when, they don't pronounce their R's. I had a cousin, well, I still have a cousin, and his name is Rob, and he got older and older and struggled with pronouncing his R's. He couldn't say his name right. It was Wob. Hey, Wob. And it was so cute when he was little. And then as he got older, though, it became a problem for him and he was teased and all of that. He's an amazing guy. He grew up to be awesome. But he did need some help in developing his speech abilities so he could even just say his name correctly, right? So I really, excuse me, that was awful. I'm getting over a cold, so I apologize. But I really want us to think about those cute little things. I miss my little one saying biscotti and the bacuzzi and asking for schlocket. That's how she said it. Schlocket. And it was so adorable. And yes, we loved hearing it and engaging with her on it. It was so cute. But as they get older, you know, it's not so cute and it can become a distraction. So there are a lot of different things that can go on with our kids as they are developing language and there's a lot of help that's available. And so in the podcast this week, I have speech pathologist Lenora Edwards, and she has a company sorry, that actually works virtually. They can go anywhere. In fact, they even have clients in Europe, and they help from young to old to be better communicators and to be able to say the things that they need to say in a way that is more understandable. So, um, when our kids are little, they are going to mispronounce things, and there's a natural progression in how they learn. So it's natural for, a 2-year old to not be able to say their R's or to mix certain beginning sounds around, um, to not be, to change a CH into an SH sound or an F into a V sound. And there's just a ton of things that is normal and part of their growing up. But by the time they're 3 or 4, they should be able to say their name. I had a little boy 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago in my class, and I won't say his name, of course, but he couldn't pronounce his name correctly. And so we had um, people working with him a couple of times a week at the school, and he still struggled. And we worked so hard with him, and he still struggled. And then last year, I checked in on his teacher and in with him, and he was still struggling with saying his name. So we want to get in on this early. We want to make sure that everyone is able to communicate and be understood. So, how many times have we had kids, or do you know a child, maybe you have a child, that you can't, either you can't understand what they're saying, or only one parent can understand what they're saying, or maybe it's a sibling that has to be your translator for them, right? Because they're not saying their words right, but certain people will be able to connect with them closely enough that they get it, they understand, but you're constantly having to interpret for your child or that child or whatever as they try to communicate with others outside of their normal sphere of people that they interact with. That's a sign. And so you might want to get them checked. Well, then how do you get them checked, especially if this is your first kid and you don't know, or your other kids didn't have any language expression issues, and so now all of a sudden you're worried about this one, and it may be fine. It may be normal, and wouldn't it be nice to know? So there are a few things that you can do. You can listen to the podcast and find out Lenora's contact and how they can help you. Or another thing is that you can, I think every community, I don't know, I can't think of a community that doesn't have something available. It's finding it, and that's can be the hard thing. So in Colorado, because I worked with them so much, I know that it was called Child Find, and you could go once they're 18 months up to 5 years. You can make an appointment, and it's not just for speech; it's for all kinds. It could be emotional development. It could be do you think maybe they're autistic? It could be whatever learning issues that you think your child has. They can observe. They did. It's quite in depth. Make sure that everything's okay. And when it's from the government, like when it's from the government, it's free, and it doesn't cost you anything. The problem is trying to get in. First off, finding it. So it may not be called Child Find in your area, but you can talk to some of the educators in your area. Call maybe a public preschool or a Title I school, an early beginning school, any of those that have connections, and they can probably get you the information faster than anyone. If you don't know what you're looking for on the internet, it can be a little hard, but usually, you can find something. The hard thing for these programs is that they can't get you in right away. And so I know that in Colorado, the wait could be anything from 6 to 9 months to get in. If you go with a private program, you're going to be able to get in much faster. But then there's a cost that's there. If you can find virtual programs, because one of the pluses of what things that we found out during COVID is that you can do things virtually, a lot of things virtually. And so you can have someone like Lenora's program to uh, look at you virtually, and you can get in like within a week. So you have to balance out, do I want my child to wait and not get the help that they need for 3 to 6 months? That's time lost in development. And the hard thing is that they grow so fast at that age, and there's so much that is developing at that age that it's really important for them to get help as quickly as you can. But there are good programs that are out there. I've seen a lot of great success in those school-based programs. I will tell you that both of my boys had stutters when they were young, and so they were able to get some speech therapy things in school, and by the time they were in second grade, it had worked out. We had some great people working with them, and so it's easy to maybe get some help that way. And the nice thing is, if they are identified with that through a government program, oftentimes you can get part of their preschool paid for, or all of it, depending on the state. But you can get some of that at a Title I preschool, First Start preschool, and then the therapists and all of that are right there, and they're helping them while they're at school. So then that continues on and is connected to when they go to kindergarten, first grade, whatever it is, however long that they need it. Then they get pulled out of class. There's there's a negative to that too, of being pulled out and having someone come in and work with them on whatever issues. Today we're talking about speech, but they have a ton of other issues that they can help you with your kids in growing. And maybe your child needs help beyond that, right? And so you may want to have things going on at school, but also have a private um, practitioner helping them after school. If you do that, you're going to want to make sure that they are connected and talking to each other, so that one isn't doing something that's going to contradict what the other one is doing. And my experience as a teacher in bringing those together has been that they are more than willing to communicate between what help is happening at school and then what help is happening privately. And so you've got all of those options that are available to you, right? So I want you to really think about how you can, first off, if your child needs help, and then how you're going to move forward. Sorry, I've got to get a drink. I'm just getting over cold. I know I mentioned that before. But anyway, my throat got really dry there. Um, Another thing, though, is that there are things that you can do even while the child is in the womb, um, to help them get started. And so it's things like, and you hear things like this, talking a lot. And you can talk to the baby in the womb, that's fine. But letting them hear sounds, conversation, they get used to mom's voice, dad's voice, the sound of the home. And then even from the day that you get introduced officially, it's called a birthday. And but making those eye connections and cooing and talking to them lovingly, and that skin to skin contact and all of those things are going to help them not only socially and emotionally, but in language development, because then they feel engaged and safe and more willing to take chances with, you know, if I say this wrong, are they going to think I'm adorable, or are they going to get mad at me, right? And so those are some things that you can start with. Another thing that you can do is when they're making those sweet little baby sounds, imitate the sounds that they're making back to them. And they're learning about engagement. And when I use my voice, that thought process isn't exactly there, but it is what they understand, is that when they use their voice, they can engage other people. So I can engage you now by not necessarily screaming. Babies cry. That's the one thing that they have, right, to communicate most quickly. But if you start out right away and helping them in responding and talking to them and smiling at them and loving them up, they will start understanding that, when I use my voice, I'm able to get some needs met. I'm able to get that mommy lady over, that, or the daddy man over, and they will engage with me, because babies will cry when they're bored. It's one of the reasons they cry is I'm bored, and so sometimes don't we ever wish we could cry because we're bored? This is all boring. I can't stand it. I can think of a few meetings I've sat in. I wished I could just cry out of boredom, but babies are free to do that, right? So I want you to start out with that, and then, making, as they get older, and they'll say, I want puck, puck. I need puck, a puck, and what they're trying to say is a cup, right? It could be something entirely different. So instead of, it's a cup or whatever, or, oh, that's so cute, right? Oh, you want a cup? Sure, let me get you a cup. And so you're saying it correctly, but they're hearing you say it correctly. And then, but it's not like a correction. It's just you're engaging with them in conversation. When they start learning about the back and forth of conversation and talking, they're not even a year old. They are learning so much when they're little. And so I've had people say, oh, they're just a baby. They don't know. They are a baby. That's true. And this is the greatest learning time in their entire lives. They will learn more in that first year and a half, comparatively, than they will for many years as an adult. It would take many years as an adult to learn what they learn in that first year and a half. They're learning about body and movement and relationships and language and all of that stuff. And so it's pretty cool. Anyway, I hope that you'll listen. So it's called What Did You Say? I need another drink. It's called What Did You Say with Lenora Edwards. It's out now. It dropped yesterday. And so, yeah, go listen to it. Go do that. And then the next thing you're going to do is tell all your friends. I heard this great podcast, and I want you to listen to it, and then you can talk with your friends about it and what's going on, especially if you have little ones that are starting to learn language or you're struggling. And so Lenora's great at explaining when to look for help. So what are some of the places that you can look for help, and then what are some of the things that you can do to help your child move along in their language development. There's also, as part of language, is called receptive and expressive. And so receptive is when I'm talking to you, you are listening and understanding the words I'm saying. When they're little, right, we're using words that they don't understand yet. And so how fast are they learning the receptive language? And often that will develop before their expressive language, right? You can tell them to go do something. They might not be able to say the word correctly. They might not, let's put the blocks away. And when they're one, they'll start doing what you've told them to do, but they're not verbally expressing that yet. So you've got receptive language and then expressive language, and that's all part of speech. That's all part of what these specialists work with and understand and help your child develop. And so maybe they're saying things right, but they're not connecting with the right words to say, or they're not connecting with what you're telling them to do with what they really need to do. And so we talk about all of that on the podcast. So I hope you'll listen, and I hope you'll spread the word. And you can always go to imperfectheroespodcast.com and hit the follow and leave us a review and a five-star review. Let us know what we're doing right. Let us know what we're doing wrong, and let us know about things that you're interested in learning about down the road, because I'd love to be there for you and with you. So until next week, let's find joy in parenting. See you later, guys.